Hi, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com, and I'm here to share with you some alternate project ideas that I created with the December 2022 Paper Pumpkin Kit from Stampin' Up! A big shout out to my friend Carol Rosengren who brought me her kit last night. My kits have been sitting at the post office for a few days. Obviously, they are less of a priority than all the holiday cards and packages that need to be delivered right now. So thank you so much, Carol. These are the parts and pieces that came in this month's kit. And when you assemble the kit as instructed in the direction sheet, you can put together a variety of colorful boxes, 16 boxes altogether. They're perfect for holding gift cards, but of course they can hold other small objects as well. And there are multiple options for how you put them together because the papers and the boxes are both double-sided. If you're in the mood for changing things up though, I invite you to watch what I share today. I love to think outside the box and manipulate the parts and pieces in these kits to make lots of other paper crafting projects. And I'm sharing my first set of projects with you today. These kits are a Stampin' Up! Product, so the colors, images, and supplies always coordinate with many other Stampin' Up! Products. I'll be using some of these items today. You can find what I used listed below and linked to my online store. You can also find links for learning more about paper pumpkin kits, starting your subscription through me so I can spoil you with exclusive ideas, gifts, and prizes, joining my Paper Pumpkin fan club on Facebook where you can see even more alternate project ideas shared daily, and if you're watching my video on YouTube, a link to my website where I've shared photos of the projects that you're going to see today. For ease in demonstrating, I'll be substituting the clear block that came in my first Paper Pumpkin kit for Stampin' Up's ergonomic blocks. I'll also use a larger version of the ink pad and some additional adhesive, such as my Stamp and Seal. By the way, if you're looking for ideas for past kits, visit my website at stampyourartout.com, click on Paper Pumpkin in the top menu, then choose Recent or Older Posts. I've been creating and sharing alternates since March of 2013, when Paper Pumpkin first began. Just an FYI, on the back of every direction pamphlet, there's a link to a video for assembling the kit projects as shown. Take a peek if that's how you want to assemble your kit pieces. Otherwise, let's dive into my first alternate project, which is a mini diorama card. We're going to use this base here that has the garden green and the crushed curry, and then this piece which has the little baby images and some of the garden green on the back side, a couple of these circle pieces, a couple stars, some of the stamps, of course. So let's first cut down our box base. We're going to trim off the edges here on the two sides, and we're going to trim using this as a guide. So we don't want that little slot in there. So we're going to line the slot up in the channel of the trimmer. I can see it lined up right in the middle in here. And I've got my box flush to the top, and I'm going to go ahead and slice. And that will remove all of these little extras. And we just did the same thing to the other side. All of these pieces are extras. You can keep them if you'd like, because you might use them, right? And now these pieces, we're going to go ahead and, or this piece, we're going to go ahead and fold on all of those score lines. This is going to get wrapped around and attached like that, and it's going to fold back and forth inside the card. So this is going to be the diorama part of the card. You'll be able to see into it, into the little box, and when you don't want to see into it, you just fold it shut. If you've never made a diorama card before, they're pretty fun, pretty easy. So first we're going to go ahead and take and measure this space here. It's about a little under 3 inches by 3.5 inches. So what I want to do here is cut a 3 by 3.5 inch piece. You can cut from either end. This, I believe, is already 3 inches. Yes, 3 inches in this direction. So we want to go ahead and cut to 3.5. And we have a little over or about 3.5 left with to do another card if we want to, or we can use that for something else. Now the score lines in here I'm not going to fold on. Just going to use leave them as is, as if they're an embellishment. And then this is going to get attached like that. And when we open up the card, it'll be like that, and we'll be able to see this diorama. You know what? I'm going to flip this around. I want to see the green on the outside and the yellow on the inside. And I think what I might also do, you see this edge here, you can kind of feel the roughness. I think I'm going to put that to the interior of the card. So now we just have a smooth fold on the back side. So it will open like that. So let's go ahead and punch into here. You could also trace and cut if you want to. So you could put your circle down, grab a pencil, trace around it, and then get in there with the scissors and cut. But I'm going to bring in one of our label punches and bring it into the side here. And we're going to go ahead and punch. Center it side to side and remove that section. It punches sort of in the middle, not quite, but it's close enough, especially on a diorama card that actually goes back and forth a bit. You don't really ever land right in the middle unless you're a perfectionist. So this can be used for something else. We're going to stamp on a circle and lay that on the inside, but we'll still be able to see a bit of that yellow glow in there. Okay, let's go ahead and tape this down now. You can see I'm folding it flat to tape it down because I want it to be able to fold flat when my card is not open. Using my bone folder to emphasize those creases. And now let's attach this piece to that. Making sure everything's lining up. Pressing nice and firm with the bone folder again. So now you can see the diorama card starting to take shape. Now it does go a little bit beyond the base, but I'm not going to worry about that. I think it's just fine. It's a mini card. Let's stamp on these two pieces here. So to stamp, we're going to go ahead and peel off the one that says "Good Things Come in Small Packages," which is the name of this kit, by the way. And we're also going to peel out the word that says "Congrats." When I mount my stamps, I lay them flat side up, impressed side down, and I just grab the stamp with the block. We're going to open up our ink pad, stamp "Congrats." You can just barely tap to get the ink on there. Congrats. And then for our other one, same thing, center and press down. I love that photopolymer or clear stamps are see-through so that you can see where you're going with them when you press them down. This one's going to go on the inside of our card. So we'll add some adhesive to the back side. Slip that in. Center it. And if you need to adjust, you can. And then this one will go on the outside with dimensionals. So just use a couple that come in the kit. You may be wondering, where do you write on this card? Well, you could put your signature right there on the little white piece. You could write on the green here. You could flip the card over and write on the back side. The kit does include these little label pieces, so if you wanted to, you could attach this to the back side for writing, or you could attach it here for writing. This one's kind of fun too because it has some similar images as the design on this paper here. It's got some stars and moons and all that sort of thing. So you could trim it and add it here. So I decided to add that one because I thought it would add just a little bit more color on the inside of the card with the yellow. We're going to embellish now, so we're going to add some stars. Bring in some glue dots here. And then I thought I'd also bring in some rhinestones. These are a fun embellishment to add a little glitz and glimmer. And there we have our finished card. Good things come in small packages. Congrats. Obviously it's a baby card, but we don't have an envelope. So let's make one. We have a variety of designer papers that you can purchase from the online store. Most of them come in 12 by 12, but there are a few packs that come in 6 by 6. And if you have a pack that you love in the 12 by 12 size, You cut it in half one direction, cut it in half the other direction. You've got then 4 6x6 pieces. This sheet here is the one that I'm going to use. It comes from a new pack of papers that will be available January 5th. It's called Fancy Flora. It doesn't have the exact same colors, but it has a variety of greens in here where it doesn't seem to be too contrasting with the green that I have here. And then, of course, the yellow is nice and bold. So we're going to go ahead and lay our, we're going to use our grid paper actually, and we're going to line up the 4 corners on the lines, the main lines of the grid paper. And that will help us to create a more even envelope. Now I'm going to lay my card in here. And I'm going to lay my card in here so that it's also centered pretty well. So I'm going to kind of look at the measurements here. Again, it is 3.5, and half of 3.5 is 1 3/4 inches. So 1 3/4 inches from that center line lands here, this line here. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that's centered between that one and this one. And then we also have the 3 inches in the other direction, correct? Yes. So that's about 1.5 inches. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. So we're going to look at this line here and this line here. And once I have everything laid out pretty well, I'm going to go ahead and fold these 2 flaps in, the side flaps. Like that. We'll use our bone folder, give it a good crease. You don't want to have it too tight in there, but you don't want to have it too loose either. And then we're going to really make sure that these are creased well, and we're going to fold that bottom flap up like so. You can see we can't put any adhesive down here, but we can put adhesive beyond that spot. First I'm going to connect these 2 areas. We're just using the card inside there the whole time, right? That's going to help. So let's add a little bit of adhesive there, and then we're also going to add a little adhesive here and here. I'm not going right up into that corner, although you know what, I probably could, because I'm going to do a tucking motion. So let's go ahead and just put adhesive all the way through and make sure we really get that corner well. Because as we fold this up, there's going to be adhesive right up here, and we're just going to tuck that over like that. Isn't that cute? So easy to make an envelope, you guys. It's really not that hard. Custom made envelope. Just making sure you have a large enough size piece of paper. And then we'll bring this back into the envelope. We'll fold this flap down. And to give the card away, I would recommend just putting a little bit of adhesive there, and it'll hold the envelope down in place. And then that person can still get their fingernail or finger underneath the flap here and pull it out. So any designer paper that you think would work. There's our first card. It's a mini diorama. But now I'm going to bring in one of the add-on kits. An add-on kit, it's not really a full kit, it's just a packet of supplies. And this month we have card bases and we have envelopes, because a lot of us people who subscribe to Paper Pumpkin Kits monthly, we love making the cards because that's what you get. A majority of them are cards. Every once in a while a 3D project comes along like this month's kit. And we know from experience that the card makers are like, oh my gosh, we want cards. So then, of course, we have the add-on card kit. These coordinate with the pieces in your kit this month. So we can take and use those pieces to make some full-size cards. Let's go ahead and make a full-size diorama using the same type of process. I'm going to bring in the green card base from that pack. This one here with the green flowers and the gray polka dots on the back side. And this green and pink box base. I do want to tell you that I do not see the Good Things cards and envelopes, that add-on that I just shared with you, the cards and envelopes. I don't see that currently in the online store, so we may be sold out of that. But subscribers, you know, we can't get these full kits now either, right? This is the way it works, typically. I'm having a hard time seeing this. There we go. So, yeah, so hopefully, just like with the paper pumpkin kit, you, as a subscriber, got the kit and you already purchased your add-on cards and envelope for this particular kit. Those of you that are watching this and going, what is all this stuff? Well, you want to subscribe so that you can get in on these goodies each and every month. And you can take months off too. You don't have to get them every month. In fact, you could even try it out for 1 month and say, you know, do I like it? Do I not like it? You know, you don't there's no obligation to continue on. So it's a really nice subscription program. It's not like typical subscription programs where you're locked into anything. I'm going to punch. And you could really punch in from either end because the tab here and the tab here are the same. Oh, so if I was going to, in fact, I might want to do that now. If I was going to stamp on the inside, and I think I'm going to have this over to the left again. If I'm going to stamp on the inside, I want to do that now before I connect everything. It's going to be a lot harder to get centered if it's all assembled. So let's grab our With Love. So for our card interior, we're going to attach this into that. So it's kind of like a pop-up card. So I'm just putting adhesive on the back right now, and I'm folding it flat like this. I'm going to tuck it in and squish it down. You want to be able to close your card. You don't necessarily need to open a card all the way, but you definitely need to be able to close it, so that's the most important. We're going to go ahead and put adhesive along here, and you can use the adhesive that comes in the kit. That tear and tape adhesive is wonderful. Okay, so there we go. There is our fun little opening and closing card here. Let's cut this in half. I believe it was 7 inches. Yep, so let's cut that in half at 3.5 inches. We'll save one for the front, and the other one, let's trim 1/2 inch off on this side. We're going to flip them both over, put adhesive along the back, and let's line this one up with this side. So it's right up to, but not right against that edge. And then make sure that your score lines are lined up. And let's attach this one on the other side. And then this one will go on the front of the card. And I think we'll make the score lines go in the same direction. See how they're closer to the bottom here? So we'll just keep that same look here on the front. Let's bring in, not those strips. Those are the ones I just cut off, didn't I? Yes. We want to grab a strip from this sheet. And we're going to stamp Happy Birthday. Okay, we started with the word birthday because I wanted my words to be justified more to the right side. Now I'm going to flip it over and add dimensionals. And you can get creative and use just the edges of a dimensional sheet, because we got a skinny piece here. And I want the dimensionals to be underneath the birthday part, the happy birthday part, more so than this side. So just add that like that. We'll have it come out a little bit too. That's always fun. Let's grab our rhinestones again. And let's pick up maybe one of these medium-sized pieces. Stick that down. And now what I've done is I've got dimensionals underneath here, but not underneath here. And that's going to help for mailing the card. I'll be able to have I mean, if I put it over the dimensionals, it's going to create a lot of bulk, but this kind of evens out the bulk, right? And then on the inside, we'll do the same thing. We'll add a few tinier rhinestones. And because my stamping kind of got off to the right side, we're going to kind of do some balancing like that. Okay. All right, and let's add some of that twine too. About 8 inches maybe. Could probably go a little less than 8 inches. I'm going to have long tails on this bow. So I took and rolled up a glue dot so that I could have a smaller area, smaller surface area for underneath my bow. So there is my almost completed card. I've got happy birthday and then with love. And I knew I wanted to add one more little embellishment from the kit. So on the inside, I decided to rearrange things a bit. I took and moved my rhinestones and stuck my flower over there, and I feel like it's a lot more centered now, and there's a little burst of pink on the inside. This card base would go well with either of these two envelopes that come in the Good Things card and envelope pack. And then I've also made a second, or well, a third version, or a second larger version. This is a graduation card. Same sort of thing on the front here. On the inside, we have the You Did It stamped on the inside, but this time I've got the graduation hat on the mobile portion of my diorama. Very fun. Oh, and this card would go well with either of these two envelopes, the blue polka dots or the gray stripes. So we've got diorama cards. Yay. Very fun. Let's go on to the next project. This next thing that I'm going to share is a way to double the kit. I love doing that. So you get 16 boxes from this kit. And like I said, you could put gift cards in there, but you could also put other little things. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to see if we could make 32 little boxes that could hold some candy treats. So I'm going to take one of the box bases and I'm going to trim it right in half down the middle. We're going to use this divot here as a guide. We're just going to position this in here, making sure that this channel is going right through the middle. And we're going to cut it in half. Now you have two sides. You have a green box, you have a pink box. So we're going to go ahead and just crease on all of those fold or score lines and attach this box, put it together. So if you follow the directions in the video that Stampin' Up! /Paper Pumpkin has put out, you can see that these tabs come in like this, and then this one goes over the top and pulls it all in. Oops, get that tab in there. And then you just click it in place like that, and you've got that all attached. Then these pieces are supposed to go in like that, but we're going to just make this one go in, and this outer one is going to wrap around to the outside and enclose it. So I'm just going to put some adhesive along this edge and not the other one. I'm going to fold this in. I'm going to stand it up because I want it to be able to stand on its own, and I'm going to close it shut. And now it's standing on its own. It's perfect. We're going to do the same thing with the other one. And I think the key is to stand it up when you're connecting it so that you make sure that it's going to stand on its own, because we want those boxes to stand. This wrap now can be cut in half. So remember, this wrap is 3 inches. We're going to cut it in half at 1.5 inches. It's a little longer than 6, but I'm going to show you some examples where you can use some 6-inch paper. In fact, let's just pull that paper back in again. The fancy Flora paper. We've got all of this fun stuff right here, these little designs. And so I took one of those sheets and I cut it down so that I got 4 strips that are 1.5 inches wide by 6. Here's 2 of them, which I haven't cut yet, and then I cut another one, which is on another box, and then this one. So you can see if you wrap this around, it will connect in the back, but just barely. So we're going to set those aside. I'm just going to first demonstrate with these, and then I'm going to show you how those wraps worked. So these wraps have, of course, the score lines in them, right? So we can use them as is. And again, I want to use both sides. I'm going to run adhesive, though, along the inner portions of this. I think, yes, we're going to go ahead and add, whoops, don't stick it down yet, adhesive all the way through, just like I did with the designer paper, which I'll show you in a minute. And then I'm going to put some adhesive right along one of those edges. This is the edge that's going to wrap over the top of the other one. And again, you can use the adhesive that comes in the kit. I think I'll use this side here. So just line it up carefully. Making sure that it looks pretty even on top and bottom. Wrap to the back. This is the one that's going to be first. And then bring this one over the top. And now we've got a wrapped little box. Let's do the same thing over here. That's probably the trickiest part of making the boxes, is just getting that wrap around. All right, so how do we decorate and fill? So your kit comes with so many fun little accent pieces and a ton of label pieces. And so you do have lots of options for creativity. You even have these pieces here. So I'm going to ignore these and add these, to other projects, make cards with them or something. These are going to come in handy. I might try those for adding my little labels. And I know this one will work too. I'm not so sure about that one with the words that I have for my stamps. So let's take this one first. And some of the twine that comes in the kit, 7 inches, I think I'm going to measure out. Because if I do 7 inches, I could do that for all 32 of my half boxes. And I'm going to make 2 little rabbit ears here. Fold them over. Do an overhand knot, and I've got a bow. And I'm just going to set that right on top of that spot there. I'm going to add a glue dot first. Stick a little glue dot in that spot right here, and then I'm going to roll it onto itself. And that will allow me to put a little bow up in that corner, and it allows me also to have this be removable, so I can stamp on this. I'm going to bring in my tuxedo black ink and my stamp that says "With Love." I'll just stamp that down on the lower half, and again I can tuck it back into this spot here like that. So I could decorate my box that way with a little label. Another idea is to take my image and stamp it in the upper portion of this circle, put some adhesive on the lower half, and then just add this to the back of the box like that so it stands up. Same thing with this one. I could take and stamp "For You" and do the same sort of idea where that's coming up the back, or I could stamp "For You" down here and have that come out the bottom, or I'm sorry, out the top like that. So lots of options. "For You" and "With Love" would be great for Valentine's. You can also bring in some fun embellishments like these rhinestones, or I've even got some pastel adhesive back sequins that have gold, pink, and blue in them that would work well with this kit. These would also work well. These are the iridescent pastel gems. Both of these are new and can be purchased on January 5th. So I'm going to add a couple of these just for a bit of sparkle. Let's go ahead and tuck in some candies now. And there we go. They stand up. Super cute little Valentines, quick and easy. I've got a couple others that I want to pull in here. So I put together these boxes now. And I grabbed those strips of designer paper. I'm just going to show you quickly how to add them. It's sort of the same way, but you just have to really be firm when you wrap the paper around to make sure that there's really no gaps at all. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm taking and emphasizing those creases with my fingernails, and there is like a slight overlap here, about 1/8 of an inch in the back. I'm putting the final touches on these containers, and I've got my iridescent pastel gems, and I've got my 7 inches of twine tied in a bow. My labels, I put the For You that dips down, I just sliced it and then stuck it down. And then the other one, I just stuck the rest of it so it was coming out the inside instead of from the back, like this one here. It'll probably, stay on better. And I've made 2 more with some of that fancy Flora paper. These are just so cute. Again, you could make 32 of these little treat containers for Valentine's Day with the supplies in your kit. Just want to remind you that the back of your direction sheets too, they have these fun little alternate projects that they've shared there. So don't dismiss those. Those are fun ideas. And we're going to trim off just 1/2 now, or one side, and we're going to create another optional kind of container for gifting to somebody. So I've just assembled this box with some extra adhesive in there, and again, you can use that adhesive that comes in the kit, but I just used my seal for being quick here. We're going to trim this piece now down to this width, so the amount of space that we need is about 2 3/8 of an inch. And then we're just going to take our pencil and we're going to just kind of draw, sketch out a little circle here on the back. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to be about 1 inch wide. We're going to come in from the side, but we're going to come in from the lower portion, and we're going to trim around in that circle to remove it. Again, it does not need to be perfect, but this is going to allow us to hang it onto a door, and this is going to slip inside. Maybe I might have to trim it down a little bit. That's going to sit inside like that. I think I'm going to trim off just a little bit more. So instead of 2 3/8, I'm going to go to 2 1/16 of an inch underneath 3/8. There we go. Now this piece can be long, this piece can be short. It's up to you where you want to place it. I'm just going to go ahead and insert it all the way in. And at this point, I think I'm going to grab that adhesive that comes in the kit. And add a strip of that right up towards the top here. So now it's sticky right there, and when I add this in, I'm going to kind of angle to come in there, stick it towards the bottom, and then press along there. And you can use your bone folder to reach in and really make sure that everything's sticking down well. This piece is where you can stamp your little sentiment message. And then I'm just going to tuck a couple leaves behind here for fun. And stick it down onto the front of our container. So now you can fill this container with some special little treat. Maybe you want to put a gift card in there. Maybe you want to put candy in there. Maybe you want to put money or tickets or just little sprig of flowers or a thing of seeds or something so that people can plant something. Some kind of special gift that you want to put in there that can be hung on a door. You can then place one of these messages on the back, or these little labels on the back side, and this is where you can put your little message. Of course, you'd want to write on it before you stick it down, but that would go on the back side here so that whoever gets this on their door can flip it over and say, oh, it's from so-and-so. And there you go. We'll just decorate that up with a few little embellishments here too. We have so many to choose from. Super sweet, super cute. My last project is a card. I'm going to trim out this little section again so that I'm using this as a guide in the channel, but I'm only going to go to this fold mark here. What I'm doing right now is I'm checking to see what's going to be shown. I'm going to go ahead and trim out this tab. And that one. And now you can see I've got nothing exposed on these sides. I've got these tabs folded in. This tab is going to also fold in, and it's going to form a little pocket. So I want to go ahead and add a glue dot to each of those corners here. And take your pick tool. And we'll just press really hard, and then we'll make sure that those creases are nice and crisp, and we'll burnish that adhesive into that spot. So now this is a pocket where a gift card can be slipped into. And this is going to fold over. We've got a little tab there. That tab is going to have a handle on it too. We're going to make sure we have a little embellishment there. But you can see that that looks like something that you want to just kind of grab and lift, right? Okay, now let's do the card base. So we're going to bring our trimmer back in, and we're just going to cut a 1/4 sheet of basic white. So we're cutting to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This piece we're going to do a little bit smaller. We're going to go to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And that's going to layer on top of this one, so we can see a nice white border around there. This is going to get added to the front of our card, and you can see we've got some room over here where we can add some pretty paper. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do it this way. So we're going to add some pretty paper onto the top of this. I'm going to cut right at that second score line in. So there's 1, 2. Let's cut at that one right there. And that brings us just over the 2 1/4 inch mark, which means I want to cut this same piece again. We're going to go to 2 1/4 inches and go just over. And this will just kind of, oops, I cut wrong. 2 1/4, let me do that again, 2 1/4. Ah, we went beyond. Okay, so now this will be what we can extend our design with underneath that front flap. And we can really put either one of these on here. I think I'm going to put the one on that's smoother. So it'll go here, and then these will kind of come out from the side. So we don't want to stick this down yet because we want to be able to trim. This one we can put down though. We're going to bring in these embellishments again and add a red one just above here. That'll create a little handle. Not really a handle, but it kind of shows you where you want to grab. Okay, let's stick these down. And I don't want adhesive all the way to the edge because I want to be able to tuck my designer paper. So that will get placed here. See, now I have the ability to tuck this in there. I'll do the same thing to this side. Make sure my pattern's still going in the right direction though. And now this whole thing can be layered onto that quarter sheet of white cardstock. So now I'm going to stamp birthday in the middle of this circle, kind of middle upper. And then the word happy right above that. Yes, you can use two sides of your block. And then this one we're going to place right in this label in the center. We're going to add this with seal adhesive. And then we're going to add this one with a dimensional. I'm placing that dimensional lower down onto the cupcake and putting the cupcake right above this gem. Do you see that cherry there? It's a little bit smaller, but it still kind of works. So we're going to put this right on the top of that cherry. So now we have kind of a double jewel on the top of that card. And on the inside, we can add this layer. And then we just tuck in our gift card and it fits right into that little space right there. So sweet. So that's what I have to share with you today. Now that you've watched my video, I hope you can see that there is so much more to these kits than meets the eye. With just a few extra supplies and some imagination, you can go beyond and make so much more. And by clicking on my personalized link below and starting your subscription with me as your demonstrator, you'll have access to my exclusive Paper Pumpkin project ideas too. Thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. To access Paper Pumpkin kit ideas that I'll share in the future, be sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and my website because I share even more each month in other special blog posts. In fact, click on my website link below so that you can access the visual supply list and view close-up photos of all that I've shared today. I hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.